virtual card usually stands for a card without a plastic. And digital card is more tricky. There's no definition for digital card. So here we will assume that a digital card is virtually whatever you can do digital related to your card, plastic or no plastic. So of course, the first use case of digital card is NFC contactless payment. That's the core feature. That's really the thing, the initial feature of the digital card. Can also be QR code in some way. So it's not the huge international trend here. And that could be also internet payment. Internet payment could be manually entering the card so that you can display on your screen. Can be digital wallets such as Click to Pay, which is being launched by the schemes, or any other solutions such as dynamic virtual card numbers or things like that. But digital card is not only about paying, it's also about doing other things with the card. The first is controlling the card, being able to unblock the card real time. It's about setting limits, blocking by transaction type, by country, etc. So empowering the customer to control his card or to be alerted as soon as a transaction occurs or a suspicious transaction occurs, immediately notify him that something has been done. So it's about controlling the card or even controlling the token, so going more deeply into the control. Like, for example, you get your card in an iPhone and an Android device, you load your iPhone, you can instantly block the card. So digital card is about all that, and of course, the first feature of digital card is to be instantaneous, real time. Because, well, I won't even explain what for. We are in a world with everything is instant. So digital card is, of course, instant. So what are the benefits of digital card? First, of course, enabling the payment through the mobile device. You could say, why? I get a plastic card. It's definitely convenient. But of course, I mean, today, the mobile device is being used for almost everything. I mean, we all know, I heard statistics about that, like 200 times a day our device. So why not for paying, definitely. But that will be also for security, as I mentioned, because of these control features that you can get with the digital card, and also with the improved biometric solutions where you can provide more authentication, but seamless authentication, which will not bother the customer. And the last opportunity of digital card is the customer relationship, because every time the customer is paying with a digital card, he will be using your application. And that's super important to keep, as it's been mentioned earlier, to keep this relationship with your customers. And that was that slide. So yeah, that will definitely, that's what the customers are asking for. And providing this digital card to your customer will help increase the usage of the card and reduce the fraud. If we now go to a quick tour around the world about digital card solution and tokenized solutions, very briefly, because of course that would require to spend hours on this definitely. Maybe we can start quickly by the old Europe, which has been quite pioneer in mobile payment. It started, I think, 15 years ago almost with Project Pegasus in France. Then it got standardized with the SIM-based payment, which for many reasons could not actually take off and really become a reality when Google opened the HTE technology on the devices, on the Android devices, which made possible for virtually any application to talk with a POS. Europe's been quite a leader in that as soon as it's been standardized, because in Europe we love standards. It's been really early adopters. Many countries, particularly the eastern countries, Poland, Romania, has been really pioneers for this technology, and now probably have the highest usage rates on this digital card. Another interesting feature is that in Europe, despite the presence of Google Pay and Apple Pay, many banks have their own NFC issuer wallet. The reason is that they want to keep the control, they want to keep the relationship with their clients, because once again, they'd rather have the client using their application 200 times a year or even more in the future than handling their customer to Google, which will definitely find a usage to this relationship with the customer. So there's a strong presence of NFC issuer wallets in Europe. North America is a very specific market. They're honestly quite late about everything in terms of payment in the USA, and they have a very special way of managing fraud. So you know, they've been switching to chip card very recently. They were using Magstripe so far. So they're very good at managing the fraud. Everything related to transaction control, card control, they're definitely the best ones because they want to alert their customers or enable to control the fraud. But when it comes to payment, they're not super advanced. The NFC acceptance was a bit late. That's probably one of the reasons they all reached to Google and Apple for their wallets, because that was the lowest investment for a limited acceptance. And they don't have the fear of these GAFA, which are American companies, so they don't have the same concern that other banks could have around the world. Asia, of course, this the continent for the super apps with these super widespread payment applications, mostly based around QR codes so far. But the interesting thing about Asia is that they are going NFC. We see that the NFC acceptance is deploying in Asia in many countries, and then the banks want to follow because they need to stick to the international standards. So even if they have these super apps that works great, they are going to NFC payment, and they will be going fast, by the way. If we go closer to here, Middle East. And once again, and it will be even truer for Africa, it's difficult to speak of a continent or region as a single country, but mostly very tech-savvy consumers, brand awareness, the new, and technology is very important, and that's why there's been a strong success for these wallets. And not all the banks, the adoption is not yet super strong, but the growth is very strong, with impressive growth rate for the region. And finally, Africa, which here will really depend on the country. In terms of tokenization, if it comes to that, and NFC payment, there would definitely be the latest one, but we see that coming. First, the NFC acceptance is quite below the average, but it's going. And we all know what it is about mobile payment in Africa. There has been the countries where the actual mobile payments first started in the world with what we could say low-tech technologies, but still that did work. So they're going a bit late on that, but we see that in many countries it is starting actually. It is starting, and there will be the capability to do a grasshopper's jump here and go from almost zero NFC to fully deployed solutions. And we see that we already have the solution starting. Well, South Africa is pretty mature now. It's a particular country, but we see projects in Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Ethiopia, and really has the potential to go very, very fast there. The question is, as a bank, should I launch this type of wallet? Should I provide NFC issuer wallets to my client and other digital card features? The answer is obviously yes, and that's not a secret here. But why? Why should I provide it, and why should I provide it now? There would be defensive and offensive reasons. Defensive is that, of course, you don't. The first reason is to protect your clients, and because you don't want them to leave to other banks potentially. And for that, I will be quoting my own son, and I assure you that I'm not making that up. It actually happened a few weeks ago. He told me, "Dad, you got to change my bank." So why do I get to change your bank? Because they don't have mobile payment. That would not be the case of most users, but the trend we see now, and particularly in Europe, we see that, is that the customers, if they don't find what they want with their own bank, they will not close their account, they will keep it as a primary bank, but they will go somewhere else for the card. And that will be the case of, I like to quote them, because that would probably be the most successful neobank in Europe, Revolut. Revolut based their application only on card initially. Now they have crypto, they have other things, but initially that was only basically card with a few attached products, but mostly cards. And now, today, I won't say that everybody has a Revolut account, but if we see in my company, I mean, at least 3 out of 4 persons have a Revolut card. So that's the risk. People could go just for the card, for a more convenient digital card to a competitor, and then, over time, start using it more and more. So that would be the defensive reason, but the best reason to go there is that, first, you will, of course, reduce your fraud, thanks to everything that I've said before, and you will also be able to strengthen the relationship with your client. Once again, today, I think the average is over 200 payments a year with the card, just with the card. And with small payment and mobile payment, that will go even higher because you can also do the very small payment thanks to the card. So that would be the best reason for going to these solutions, strengthening the relationship with your clients. Plus, of course, you can pave the way for the plasticless world. So don't misunderstand me on this. We will need plastic cards for a long time still. I think in 2021, over 22, 23 billion plastic cards have been issued, banking cards in the world. So plastic is definitely not dead, but we all see digital. So plastic is still quite mandatory, and quite, I say quite, because we already have several clients who provide either hybrid mode, so you get the digital card and optional plastic card, which you can, once again, Revolut, you can, if you want the plastic, you pay, or fully digital card. So that happens, and of course there is cost saving if you don't print the plastic. So this is another reason for paving the future, or maybe now if you want to charge more for the plastic, to go digital. But of course, easier said than done, and there are some challenges to go digital and to digitize your cards and to tokenize your card particularly. Maybe quickly, for digitizing, digitizing a card comes to three things for a bank, three things. The first one is connecting to the CMS or to your card processor. That's where we can fetch the card data, because to digitize a card, of course, we need the card, or at least the card data. This part can be somehow tricky because this is PCI DSS, this is a bit complex, and sometimes it goes to third-party vendors, not super flexible, definitely, to say the least, in some cases. And that's always can be long projects here. So this is the first part. The second one is connected to the scheme, Visa, MasterCard, Visa and MasterCard, potentially other schemes. Once again, theoretically, no rocket science here, but projects with the schemes can be a bit tricky. These ones are particularly new, and it involves TSP, token service providers, so it can be complex, many implementation, encryption model, many flows model, etc. So this one can be pretty tricky too. And the last one, but I would say the most important one, is embedding into your mobile application, so designing the user experience. And that's the most critical part, because you just don't have to build a user experience, you have to build a great user experience, because the ones setting the expectations here are Google, Apple, to say the least, and neobanks, whose primary focus is customer experience. So for launching the digital card solution, you definitely have to bring together all of these, plus, I've not written here, but the security. Because with great power comes great responsibility. If you can enable your customer to fully control the card and pay with the card and do proximity payment, which is a lot more sensitive than online payment. Just for your information, in France, with the chip card, 20 years ago, we had a cryptographic flow on the chip card, and it's been a nightmare to catch anyone. I mean, there have been fake cards produced, people could pay in store. We never catch a single of them. So proximity payment is particularly sensitive. This is mitigated through online payment for most of it, but still, security is a major requirement if you want your solution to work on the long term. So that makes quite a lot of a challenge, but there are definitely ways to go over that. And that's why I may briefly mention that, but I'm thrilled to talk about this partnership between CR2 and Entrust for that. Very, very briefly about Entrust, because maybe you don't know Entrust, probably you don't know Entrust, or Entrust Data Card, which is a bit more known. Entrust designs the machines that print over 80% of banking cards across the globe. So they're mostly known for that. They also do instant financial issuance, so the machine, you go in a branch and you immediately get the card outside of the machine. But Entrust is also doing a lot of things, but also the digital card. We've been doing tokenization since 9 years now. We've been the very first, among the very first company to provide the solution, the first to get certified on the security part by Visa in 2015. So a pretty strong track record of implementing this kind of solution. There's now a solution live in more than 30 countries around the world. So what's the point in this partnership? I've mentioned that we have to connect to Visa, MasterCard, we have to connect to CMS, and we have to build this great user experience. Entrust is, in this kind of project, Entrust will be handling the connection part to Visa, MasterCard. I mean, we're doing that all day long. We've been doing that for years now. Once again, we are pre-certified, pre-connected, etc. So that turns this part rather easy. We will also connect to your banking system, the CMS or your processors. We adapt the format so the processor or CMS don't have to change the format. It can be as low as one single API to connect there, so we can bring that part together. And the last part, and most important part, is provided by CR2 on this user interface and perfectly integrating all this user experience on the NFC first, but these solutions are definitely future-proof, and I will come back to that later, but all together into the mobile banking application. And then we can handle also the whole project, which includes certification by the scheme to provide an end-to-end project plus expertise to that, so to make that mostly seamless. And for your information, we see many banks who try to implement themselves, totally on themselves, this kind of solution have taken literally years to implement, whereas the target would be 3, 4, 5 months, big maximum, including testing, Q&A, etc. So that's the initial meaning of this partnership, being able to bring you that very quickly, very efficiently, plus, and that's the nice part of this solution and this partnership, is that we will also be future-proof, because once we get the card data, once we can use that for NFC tokenization, we can use that for virtually any other of the digital card product. Displaying the card on screen, pushing to click to pay, which is becoming a mandate over the world by MasterCard and maybe Visa soon. Managing the tokens, so the digital card directly through the user interface, etc., etc. And potentially in the future bringing new products such as BNPL or carbon calculator, whatever, which is based on card and processing, that will be brought to you directly into this application. So that's mostly it. I will be happy to discuss with you afterward of the details if you have any interest in that. But yeah, that's why I'm really thrilled to have done this partnership that will definitely help pushing the solution. Thank you very much.